U.S. President Donald Trump says his country will acquire the Danish territory of Greenland. That's despite Denmark saying the island is not for sale, and Greenlanders saying they have no desire to become part of the United States. Trump has been pushing for the island to come under U.S. ownership. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will meet with Denmark's foreign minister next week to discuss the issue. Now, Trump had suggested buying the island from Denmark. At one point, he even threatened military action.
If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland, and I am not going to let that happen.
Is there any deal they can offer you? Either like
yeah, sure, I'd love to make a deal with them. It's easier. But one way or the other, we're going to have Greenland. Greenland does not want to see Russia or China take over. They don't go there. It's very far away from Greenland. And Greenland, basically, their defense is 2 dog sleds. Do you know that? You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds. In the meantime, you have Russian destroyers and submarines and China destroyers and submarines all over the place. We're not going to let that happen.
In the meantime, are you going to...
And if it affects NATO, then it affects NATO. But, you know, they need us much more than we need them. I will tell you that right now.
Mr. President, are you going to...
Now, several European leaders have condemned the idea of a U.S. takeover of Greenland. Germany's vice chancellor is among the leaders who've urged Washington to respect Greenland's sovereignty. Sweden's prime minister has also weighed in.
The U.S. administration's threatening rhetoric towards Denmark and Greenland is rightly met with very sharp criticism. Sweden, the Nordic countries, the Baltic states, and several large countries in Europe are standing together in support of our Danish friends. The United States, on the contrary, it should thank Denmark, which has been a very loyal ally over the years.
And Al Jazeera's Rory Challands reports now from Western Greenland.
As you can see, still pretty gloomy in Ilulissat at the moment, and that's because we are still in the polar night. For the last 6 weeks or so, the sun has not risen above the horizon, and when it finally does later on this week, there will be local celebrations to welcome it, as there are every year. Perhaps a bit more subdued than usual, though, because Donald Trump's acquisitive focus on Greenland is very much on people's minds here. The Greenlandic Parliament has brought forward a meeting to discuss the crisis, and later in the week the Danish Foreign Minister and the Greenlandic Foreign Minister are going to be meeting with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. As well, a German delegation is bringing a message of solidarity to Washington DC, saying that Greenland's future is for the Greenlanders and the Danes to decide themselves, and that any differences of opinion should be discussed and solved through dialogue. Rory, Challands, Al Jazeera, Ilulissat.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.